if you want to create a stamp, let's say, let's see, I think the one we were talking about was like that watermark that we had created, right? Because we want to apply that to like all the pages in the same spot on the page, regardless of page size. Okay, so I want to make a stamp out of this guy so that I can do more stuff with it in terms of the positioning on the page. So what I have to do is actually create a unique stamp, and a stamp is just actually a PDF that you create that's separate, but it has like stamp properties associated with it. So if I click on that little stamp guy over here, I can kind of go down, and then on the very bottom here, you can say create stamp, and then you can tell it what size you want, what the subject is. So I can just I'll call this test. You can use a template if you want, and you can here's where you dial in the actual size in terms of like a paper units, right? It's a 4x1 or whatever. I'll just do 4x4 for now, although I'll adjust that in a second here anyways. And line color and fill color, all this stuff you can play with here. I'm just going to say OK, and then what that does, that kind of brings it open like this kind of sandbox area, this paper space here, where I have this 4x4 area. So this boundary box is basically indicating to Bluebeam what is my stamp, or what anything inside here is going to be what my stamp is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, I'm going to copy that and paste it in here. And it really doesn't even matter where you put it as long as it's within the boundaries of the box here. But that looks good. I was going to dial this in a little bit here. And that looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and Control S for save. And now if I go over here, I should see that test in my stamp box or stamp area. And if you're wondering like where the heck are all these stored at, you can just go to change stamp folder down here at the bottom, and then this is where they're stored at. This is how I'll steal the file path for it, and then I can open up a file explorer and then just paste that into there, and then that's where all my stamps are stored at in the background. So I made this stamp, right? I got this test here. That looks good. So now if I were to go back to like this document here, I go to like B, and I want to apply that stamp. I go to the stamps and I say test, and then just click somewhere in here to place that stamp, and that's in there. So now it's like, okay, well, I want to apply that stamp to the center of every one of these pages, including this oddball side, right? This 11x17. So I'm going to start off at the beginning here, and I'm going to go to, oh, let's see, boy, I haven't done this in a little while here. Actually, I think it's a batch process. So you go to batch, apply stamp. Oh, right on it. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, so apply stamp, and then you can say what page range do you want to do it to, what stamp do I want to use. So here's where I'm going to load that stamp I just created. So there's test. And let's see, so now this is where I can dial in down here the anchor. So I want to anchor it in like the center of the page. I click this little tiny center square here, and it should anchor that right in the center of all the pages, if I recall correctly. So let's see if I remember right. I hit OK. Boom, there we go. Alright, so then I applied it right to the dead center of all those pages, regardless of page size. So yeah, you get a lot more control over where those are stored at, or where those are placed at, if it's a stamp, through this apply stamp dialog here. And you can do this to multiple documents at the same time, right? This is just one document here, but I can add multiple documents, and I could stamp 10, 20, 100 documents all at the same time if I wanted to, and do it the same way. If I wanted to remove all those test stamps, what I would do is I would open up my markup list, which again you can just hover over until this line turns blue and click on it, or click and drag, or you can always click on the little markup list button over to the left here. And what I would do is I would turn on my filters, so my filter list, and then the top row here are all my filters like in Excel. So I click on that, and I say, okay, I only want to see those stamps, those test stamps. So now I have this filter for test turned on, and I can basically see where all those tests occur. I can select them all, Control A, or just select them individually, then delete, and then now those stamps are gone.